You all need to start treating me like a woman with worth. I am a woman, okay? Be nice to me. Do you understand?
Yeah. It's said that the people who you love the most are the people who have the power to hurt you the most because of the love you feel for them. In the case of Britney Spears, this is a woman who the mother, the father, her siblings, her husbands, and even her own children have exploited and continue to exploit. And they exploit her in the worst possible ways because, yes, she clearly has some mental health issues, but she doesn't get care for those mental health issues. She gets exploited for those mental health issues. And it's incredible how this woman who's been, a court said that she wasn't capable of looking after herself, nor her children, nor anybody around. Yet, she was capable of working for a number of people to support an immense amount of number of people. So how can this have happened? How can a woman who the court and the world declares to be mentally unstable, so to the degree that she was a danger to herself and others, that she was placed under the worst possible and strictest conservatorship, yet was allowed to be exploited in such a manner? Why is Britney Spears so betrayed by everybody? This is a woman that to me inspires love and a great deal of sympathy for what she's gone through. Because to this day, her family and those around her, those who should be looking out for her, are the ones who are betraying her the most. How horrible.
Have you lost your mind? I do care, but I'm shocked as with you. And I don't know what to do. And I'm scared of you because you're weird, because you're going through puberty. I was in shock in the store when I looked down, and Jaden, how are you so cool about that? Your brother being with his big feet, size 13 now?
Well, he's my brother.
And all the more exposed, his feet, your blood in an ice cream shop in Alaska weather? Don't you think that's a little odd?
No.
Yeah, I think your phone should be gone.
I want to do this video by finding out who Britney Spears is as an artist. So we have an idea of the kind of success, the level of success this woman has achieved in spite of all the things that have been thrown at her, all the mental health struggles she has suffered. This woman is more remarkable because she's able to succeed in spite of, according to everybody, being insane. So Britney Jean Spears was born on December 2nd, 1981. Don't worry, this is not going to be a long thing. And she's an American singer. That's cutting it short. She is known as the Princess of Pop, okay? Keep in mind she was born in 1981. From the age of 8, her mother took her to New York because she was so talented. And then I think from the age of 11, she's been working to support the entire family, Jamie Lynn included. Her father, her mother, everybody, okay? This woman, Spears, has sold over 100 million records worldwide, including over 70 million in the United States, making her one of the best-selling music artists. She has earned many awards and accolades, including a Grammy Award, 15 Guinness World Records, 6 MTV Music Video Awards, 7 Billboard Music Awards, including the Millennium Award, the inaugural Radio Disney Icon Award, and a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Her heavily choreographed videos earned her the Michael Jackson Video Vanguard Award. Okay, this is a woman who has been and continues to be very talented. And basically, the biggest criticism she's facing right now is that she's insane because she does those videos on Instagram, which pretty much everybody's doing. That's how TikTok exploded. We all know Charlie D'Amelio. We know, what's it called? This woman, Ray. All of it is about videos, almost naked, doing stuff. Is it embarrassing for her kids? Probably. But that doesn't make her insane, because that would make everybody else on TikTok and on Instagram and OnlyFans account insane as well. But what I wanted to focus this is the betrayal of this woman. How people have used her weaknesses to corner her and exploit her even more, to take away from her and say, see, she's crazy. Once she got the label of insane, mentally unstable, there was nothing that she could do to shake it off. Nothing. Because her family wanted, and still do, her family wants to keep her insane, wants us to believe she's insane. Does she have mental health issues? Absolutely. Who wouldn't, with the kind of childhood this woman has had? This woman has been working to support her entire family from the age of 8 years. Since she was 8 years old. Clearly, she was in an industry that exploited her. I mean, probably, her mental breakdown could have been handled with 3 weeks, taking 3 weeks off, stop working, concentrate on yourself, on your well-being, having people to truly look after her instead of pump her full of drugs. This lady has been forced to take lithium, among other medications, since at the very least 2008. She did make attempts on her own to go and check herself into rehab, shaving her head, clearly a cry for help. But instead of getting the correct treatment, instead of her family saying, you know what, love, you're going to take a whole year off. You're not going to work. We're not going to squeeze every dollar out of you. We're going to look after you. We're going to take you. We're going to give you proper diet. Go to a psychologist, psychiatrist. Look after yourself for a year, or maybe just 6 months, instead of pumping her full of drugs. What they saw is like, this is our chance. We can have her committed, so we have complete control over this woman's earnings and potential, and make money off of her. And once I say to myself, once you get a label, it's hard to shake it off. It's hard to shake it off. I want to concentrate a little bit here, because we know how successful this woman is. She was in, I saw Will and Grace. I used to watch Will and Grace. And, when she appeared as the closeted Amber Louise lesbian, I mean, that people say she's a great singer, great performer, but I think she's a kick-ass actress, because she's so convincing in that. She's got that great sense of humor. And then I think she was in another show. I can't remember which one it is. Probably we're going to see it from here. But I do want to see how Kevin Federline, this man, who's a nobody, no talent. His only talent was that he married Britney Spears and fathered 2 children. And the 2 children, I mean, even her kids, her kids have, I mean, it's disgusting what they did, recording their mother without her consent and publishing that on the net because she was telling them to behave decently. And if, I don't think they will ever watch this video, but if they do, shame on you. If I had been your mom, I would have smacked the shit out of you. How dare you do that to your own mother? Because the only reason why you're eating and having and doing all those fancy trips and smoking that marijuana with your father and living, amazingly, is because your mother, your mentally unstable, declared by the court mother, is being exploited to keep you wealthy. So shame on you. So we go here that her father, her mother, that skanky sister, Jamie Lynn, and Kevin Federline, her 2 children, and now Sam Asghari have gone. And basically, they wanted to continue perpetuate the myth that she's so insane. They want to bring her back to the conservatorship. That's what I truly believe. Does she have mental health issues? Absolutely. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I was wondering, because I've heard some YouTubers say that she was like 8 or 9 years in that conservatorship. No, you're wrong. She started in 2008. And in January 2008, Spears refused to relinquish custody of her two sons to Federline's representatives. She was hospitalized at Cedars-Sinai Medical Center after police that had arrived at her house noted she appeared to be under the influence of an unidentified substance. The following day, Spears' visitation rights were suspended at an emergency court hearing, and Federline was given sole physical and legal custody of their sons. She was committed to the psychiatric ward of Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center and put on 5150 involuntary psychiatric hold under California state law. The court placed her under a conservatorship led by her father, Jamie Spears, and the lawyer Andrew Wallet, giving them complete control over assets. She was released 5 days later. So basically, probably she had a meltdown, guys. Probably she had a meltdown having to let her kids go back to Kevin Federline because she always wanted to be a mother, and she had a meltdown. And that single meltdown, which could have been managed differently, which could have been, you know what, we're going to do this nicely. No, somebody called the paps, and it wasn't Britney Spears. I wonder who called the paps, because I wonder how that news got leaked. And then she was placed in the most strict conservatorship that gave her father, an attorney, complete control over her body and assets, because she was declared mentally incompetent. Basically, when that happens, means that you are so mentally ill that you should be home in a psychiatric ward with a bunch of stuff. You would think that, that conservatorship would have been for her own benefit or temporary, just while she got better. Did that happen? Absolutely not. The month after, she was declared mentally incompetent, because in order for you to lose rights over your body, your medication, you have to be absolutely declared to be absolutely mentally incompetent. The following month, Spears gets starred on the show How I Met Your Mother episode as receptionist Abby. She received positive reviews. From 2008, this mentally incompetent declared woman, the court declared this woman so incompetent that she didn't have any rights over her body, any decisions of her life, and everything she earned went to her father and this lawyer. Okay? So she basically is considered a disabled person. Heavily disabled person, because even a disabled person has some rights. So while she was declared mentally incompetent, and I really want to stress this point very much. She did circus, was released. The thing, she did tours. She did a residency in Vegas. She released in 2011 and 2012. Femme Fatale, she did the X Factor. In 2013, 2015, Britney Jean and Britney, Piece of Me, was also done and released. She's been on the Billboard, topping the Billboards number 1 or 2 spot. On 2016, 2018, Glory continued residency and the Piece of Me tour. And 2019, 2021, that's when the conservatorship dispute started. So this woman, and I've talked a little bit about this in my other videos, this woman, while being declared mentally incompetent, disabled in other words, was making money, was made to work to support others. Shame on the record labels that were exploiting that. They knew that she had no choice, because it was her father making the choices for her. So whether she wanted to or not, she had to work, because her father was making those decisions for her. And she had to appear healthy, because if not, her father would justify, oh, you're insane because you did this. So any normal behavior that we consider normal would be considered abnormal by her. All of this time while being pumped full of lithium and other drugs that we know nothing of. Now, her father was found to have had a camera in her bedroom, in her bathroom. Why isn't this man in jail? Now, when she managed, people say, why did she marry Sam Asghari? This woman was under, at the time, she didn't know who to trust. Her family had, she clearly couldn't trust her family. They were keeping her prisoner to make money off of her while declaring her crazy and mentally incompetent. How can Las Vegas have hired this woman knowing full well that she had no say over this and that the courts had declared her mentally unstable? How can they have done that? I mean, everybody has been callous, but while at the same time calling her crazy. Why would Las Vegas hire a crazy, unstable woman? Why would the Grammys have this crazy, unstable woman there? Why would people hire her to do concerts for Arena to this mentally crazy, unstable woman? The whole idea is that she is unstable. She is crazy. She's mentally insane. She clearly is unwell. But yes, she was well enough to do all of those things that require great clarity, ability, commitment, professionalism, stability. Now, Sam Asghari happens. Sam Asghari happens. Why did it happen? My personal opinion is she had nobody, and she saw, it's like when you're drowning, you don't know how to swim, and you barely see something out on the surface, and you grab onto it, and you think it's a lifesaver. And then and it kind of pulls you up, but it's really not a lifesaver. It turns out to be like a shark that's going to eat you up. That's what I believe Sam Asghari is. And a lot of people have, and a lot of YouTubers have said, oh no, he doesn't want to exploit her. Sam Asghari knew perfectly well that what Britney Spears' situation was. And he decided to exploit her. Now a lot of people are coming out that he was a womanizer, just like the song Britney Spears, How Appropriate. That's incredible. So people wonder why did Britney Spears, because probably he was the only one who she thought was on her corner, because there was betrayal everywhere. Betrayed by her mother. I mean, I'm a mom, guys. I don't know how I would ever do that to. How can a mother? Shame on you. Shame on you as a mother to Britney Spears. And what's more shameful right now is I see a lot of YouTubers still branding Britney Spears as mentally insane. Oh, because, her kids are embarrassed that her mother's almost half naked. Clearly she has mental health issues, but she's not crazy. Lithium exposure, long-term exposure or consumption of lithium plus other drugs does affect your brain. They make it sound like Britney's the only woman in the world going on a stripper pole and posted onto Instagram. Have we not seen Instagram? Have we not seen them everywhere? But they want to make that behavior making look like insane. Everybody clearly, and I'm not saying she doesn't, she probably needs some assistance, but wouldn't you be paranoid knowing that everybody around you just wants the piece of you and wants to trash you and wants to exploit you? Wouldn't you be paranoid and justified in thinking, who can I trust? Who can I trust? When your way of thinking has been permanently distorted by the amount of drugs that were forced into your system. And now, when she sees her own children post videos of her just because she's demanding a little respect from her children, or she's asking her children to put shoes on when they walk into an ice cream parlor. The horror. What a horrible mother is trying to teach her children manners. Skanky kids. Nobody's criticizing Kevin Federline smoking marijuana with 2 underage teenagers. Nobody's criticizing that. Nobody's criticizing the lack of loyalty from her 2 children who benefit from this woman who has been who's into forced labor, because this is what Britney Spears is under, or was under during the conservatorship. Forced hard labor. This woman had no respite, was being pumped full of drugs, had no right to speak out. And now when she finally manages to speak out, she clung to the wrong life-saving lifesaver, which is Sam Asghari, who is clearly an opportunist because he has filed for divorce, but of course he's asking for spousal support. He didn't tick the boxes where he says, no, I don't want anything from her. So for those people who say are still sitting on the fence in regards to Sam Asghari, where do you think all the headlines are coming about Britney Spears woke up and beat him up and he had a black eye? Huh? Are we really going to pretend that he's not the one leaking that story? Because I don't think Britney is leaking those stories. So wouldn't you be justified in being Britney, thinking? And also, that's another thing, you know, I don't know about you. When I found out about TikTok, I spent hours. Because it's so funny, you know, it's like I found out about this and I was like hours and laughing and doing all kinds of stuff because, you know, you suddenly find yourself with access to that. Britney found herself suddenly in 2021 free. And let's not forget that Britney did not have access to phones, did not have access to many things that we take for granted. So suddenly this woman who since 2008, was in a conservatorship when internet was not there, TikTok was not there. I mean, internet was in its really infancy, guys. It's exploded in the latest years. Suddenly finds out that she can have an Instagram account, she can do videos, that she can do this, she can do that. It's like when you suddenly find yourself free, you go overboard. But now she's being criticized for it. It's like when you are starving, I don't know, maybe you go days without eating and suddenly you have food in front of you. It's like you eat really quickly and you stuff your face until you make yourself sick. So now Britney is discovering internet. People ridicule her because she wears those 80s or 90s clothes. Why? Because since 2008, this woman has been pretty much a prisoner, not being allowed to have the same liberties that we have. But now everybody, oh, she's insane. Look at her. She bought herself a stripper pole because her kids are embarrassed of her. These are the same children who were not embarrassed to take money from their mentally unstable mother who was being forced into hard labor by everybody in order to sustain their lifestyle. These are the very same children who are not embarrassed by the likes of having a father like Kevin Federline, a fat fuck who does nothing other than exploit and live off Britney Spears, a woman. This is a man who has made nothing of himself all these years and who's basically been capitalizing on the fact that he fathered Britney Spears' kids and that he has custody of them. Why aren't these two children and why aren't these YouTubers talking about that? Oh, the kids, you know, they're embarrassed that the mother's doing that thing. So what? They're not embarrassed to take her money, are they? They're not embarrassed. Her kids are not embarrassed to take her money. Kevin Federline didn't say, you know what? I'm not going to take the money because Britney is not mentally stable. You're not giving her the proper treatment. I'm going to find a job for myself and support my children with the kind of income I can provide. No, he kept mom and got the money from Britney while she was declared mentally unstable with no rights to even say a beep because anything she said would be considered crazy. Britney, honey, if you're watching this, yes, you have mental health issues. We all do. We all do. You know, we all do. I went through a lot of stuff. I've been betrayed by people who should have been looking out for me. I don't know how I would cope with if my child ever betrayed me like Britney's, you know, vultures, 2 kids vultures did. But honey, I mean, that's the worst because Britney always wanted to be a mom, and to see her kids betray her in that manner, that would destroy me if my kid ever did that to me. And to see that this woman is still strong and resilient and making her videos, power to her. But why are her closest people around her that should have been looking out for her betraying her so much? Why can't they look at her through the eyes of love and compassion and empathy? Why do they only look at her as a meal ticket and to try to put her down and they only think of betraying her. I mean, it is really creepy. It is really creepy because how can we, the fans, I'm not a big Britney Spears fan, but I do like her music. But even as a, as a fan of hers, of her music, of what she's achieved, I have nothing but admiration for her, for the fact that in spite of the fact that a court, a California court declared her insane, pretty much, because the courts don't give that kind of conservatorship over her body, her money, over everything, unless you're mentally disabled and you can look after yourself. How can the courts have failed Britney so badly? Because I don't understand why they didn't say to Mr. Spears, her father, okay, this woman cannot look after herself. You have to make sure that she's in a clinic, and when she's well enough, come back here and we're going to have a doctor's thing. She cannot work. She cannot do this. No. It was just, you're going to take over her whole life, her body, her everything. And there's not going to be any reviews done down the line of anybody. And had it not been for her hardcore fans who had more love, compassion, and empathy for Britney Spears than her own family, this woman might still be doing hard labor, forced labor. And to all the YouTubers out there who say she's mentally stable, she's mentally sick, look at those videos. Say, yeah, she has mental health issues. But clearly, in spite of the fact that she has always had mental health issues, since 2008, that's when she was declared incompetent, this woman has produced albums, done international tours, has been to Vegas, has done Vegas residencies, has been the same usual successful woman there is. And to do these things, as I said before, it takes dedication, professionalism, clarity of mind to be able to follow instructions to the letter, which apparently she legally didn't have that capacity to have clarity. How and why are people still failing and betraying this lady? Shame on the society that we have. Shame on those YouTubers. So instead of saying, you know what, Britney Spears, like all of us, has mental health issues. But instead of blaming her for those mental health issues, they should be questioning why and how she got there. What kind of medications were pumped into her against her will that has affected her judgment? Okay? Why not give this lady the benefit of the doubt? What? Just because her skanky kids are embarrassed that she's doing those sexy videos? Shit, if I looked like her, I would. I would. God knows that there are a lot of ugly looking women doing it and they don't have her body. So it is a shame that people are rejoicing. And I don't mean her fans. I mean her family is rejoicing and betraying her even further, saying, see, she's divorcing Sam, even Sam. And now that skanky man is coming to say, oh, you know, she had health issues. I thought I could help her out. He knew who she was. He's trying to perpetuate the myth that this woman is so insane that he couldn't even cope with her, that he's the victim. You're no victim, you're a grifter. You're a grifter who's seeing an opportunity and you're trying to exploit it. And then people wonder why Britney is paranoid. She's not paranoid. She's right. Everybody betrays her. So if there's any recommendation any advice I would ever give to Britney, I know she'll never see this video. It would be, Britney, do your videos. No shame in your game, honey. So what? So what? You have an amazing body. You're beautiful. But do seek out some mental health. Do not marry anybody. Keep yourself isolated a little bit. Clearly, there's nobody you can trust right now, and you need to be in a better mental health to be able to discern, because right now she's desperate, she's lonely, everybody she knows betrays her, you know, and her fans do love her, but they are coming from, you know, probably her fans would be better off, she'd be better off with a couple of fans that are not that crazy around her. But, you know, I have nothing but admiration for this lady who should have, you know, after she was declared mentally unstable and her father took over her entire life, should have been actually in a hospital helping her look after herself. And probably the courts also have failed her and betrayed her, because there should have been a follow-up. There should have been some rules to the conservatorship, and none were ever put in place for her. It was just take over her and we just want to be done with her. Well, Britney, the world is not done with you. You're a lovely lady, and you know, I wish nothing but love and peace for you. And I wish people and the YouTubers would understand and start asking the right questions as to not just see the outcome. This is like a nanny who pinches or beats the kid under the table and the kid cries, and then everybody only sees above the table and sees the kid crying, and the nanny's going, see, he's a crybaby, but she's not showing that she's poking the child and hurting the child under the table. We're only seeing Britney's reaction. We don't know what's making her react that way. As usual, leave me your comment.